Cricket West Indies have announced that they will not be retaining the services of Harper and Bascom. Is it correct, technically correct, to say that they were sacked?
No, I would not say that they were. If a contract comes to an end, you are not sacked. That's the end. The other part of that contract then has to make a decision as to whether it is in their best interest to renew it. I think in this situation, CWI has made the best decision for West Indies cricket. I don't think that the previous selectors recently covered themselves in glory. I think they made some grave errors, and I think they've done the right thing. However, let me add a word of caution. In the same way that sometimes we tend to look at cricketers as individuals in isolation, which can be a mistake, because I think we have to look at the system within which they operate. I think it is worthwhile tonight for us to have a discussion about the system within which our selectors operate, because changing these selectors will not solve all of our problems. And if we don't look at the system within which they operate, then we're going to be back here another year or two from now with new selectors, as we've done since 2000, and not getting any better results. We had a review of the system in 2019. And that is what brought about this selection panel that we recently had with Harper and Bascom. And now, after the fiasco of the World Cup, we had another review. CWI said they wanted to extend the contract for a short period so they could review it. The fact that we had that fiasco and the fact that we're reviewing it again suggests to me that whatever they did 2 years ago did not work. And it is worthwhile, if you will indulge me, I will go back a little bit. After that review was done 2 years ago, the vice president of the cricket board, Dr. Shallow, was interviewed. And let me quote some of what he said. He said, based on data, in an effort to bring a more strategic approach to the building of West Indies representative teams, that's how we will pick teams. So basically he's saying it will be based on data. Good? Mm-hmm. He also went on to say, it is important to have a selection policy where players will have confidence that if they perform, they will be selected. Good? Mm-hmm. And I'll have one more excerpt from that interview where he said, what we are saying now with this system is that it will reward performance. And both selectors, Roger Harper and Miles Bascom, have demonstrated their full understanding of that. So what he's saying here, we will look at data and we will pick teams based on performance. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Well, it sounds so.
However, that's what he said. But coming up to the World Cup, let's talk about data and performance. Chris Gayle averaged about 17 in T20 cricket for 2021, and we picked him. Does the data and the performance suggest that he should have been picked? We picked O'Shane Thomas. He bowled 4 overs in 2021 for 59 runs and 1 wicket. 4 overs, 59 runs, 1 wicket, and we picked him. Does the data suggest that he should play? I've only picked these two just to make that point. So clearly, whatever was said at that time is not what was done. You can't tell me that. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I was going to suggest though that you would need a comparative analysis to tell me and the viewers that there were others who had performed better. I would imagine that that's where you're going.
Right. Let me say this. It is better, I think, for me to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me we cannot find someone who can average above 17?
No, who would have? We didn't with facts. We didn't with facts.
Well, yeah, but okay, here are the facts. Remember, when this team was picked, there was a great outcry for the simple reason. I remember in that interview, Dr. Shallow said that they are looking to reward performance. We had just had the CPL. There were a number of good performances in that CPL, and people were saying, what happened to these people? Why aren't they playing? And my question is, what is our plan for these players? And that's the real issue, because we keep looking at selection as a one-off thing. We're picking a player for this series or for this game. But permit me to give you an example to explain what I'm getting at. If Chris Gayle at 39 or 40 years old, however he is, so he's over 40, if we pick him averaging 17, there's no plan for the future there. You have to pick Chris Gayle at that age with the idea that he's going to win a tournament for you now. And if he's averaging 17, I don't think he's going to win anything for me now. But if we look at a person like Brandon King, for instance, who I thought gave a good showing against Pakistan recently. Now, Brandon King, his overall average doesn't set the world on fire. But in his last two outings for the West Indies, against Sri Lanka, in 2 games, he averaged 38 with a strike rate of 165. And in 3 games recently against Pakistan, he averaged 37 with a strike rate of 168. Now, at Brandon King's age, I am suggesting if we are talking about picking West Indies teams and improving West Indies cricket, we have to look at a player like Brandon King and say, do we think he has the goods? That's number one. Can he give us 5, 10 good years in the future to take our cricket forward? That's number 2. And here's the third part, because we always look at selection in isolation, but we should not. Every player in the Caribbean, when they step up to international level, most of them, 90% of them struggle because the technology will find you out. People will figure out how to play against you. And then what the West Indies needs is a mechanism around these players to then help them through that adjustment period at the higher level to cope with whatever is coming at them. Remember, other people are planning for you. You also have to go away and plan how you're going to respond. And what I'm saying in a nutshell, Wayne, is instead of saying this person has a better average than that person, let's look at where are we going with this player. Obviously, you have to look at his data, his average, his batting performances to say, does he even have the goods that we should be looking at him? But then we got to say, what's the longer term plan? Where can he take us? What's the best form of cricket for him? What do we, CWI, have to do to make sure he's successful?